Hello everyone and welcome to this course on continuous integration and continuous delivery services and approaches in AWS platform. I'm Mahmoud Matoub. I'm a cloud solutions architect and I'm so excited to take you through this journey to learn how to utilize the native AWS services to manage and automate your continuous delivery process on AWS platform. The very general objective of this course is to help you successfully manage your continuous application and infrastructure updates in AWS, and to help you decide and adopt the best CI/CD approach that better fits your system. Down the road, we will have more focused objectives and agenda for each section of our course. The structure and agenda of our course is that we will go through an overview of continuous delivery, definitions, and background, why do we need it, and then we will take a deep dive into the 4 services that collectively build up the stack of continuous delivery services in AWS platform. These are code commit, code build, code deploy, and code pipeline. Down the road, we will have incremental labs that will take us all the way from starting a repository in code commit until we have a fully managed and automated pipeline for our release process at the end of this course. Let's start by some definitions and rationale behind studying this subject. Continuous integration is a DevOps software development practice where developers regularly merge their code changes into a central repository, after which automated builds and tests are run. So in simple language, it is the practice of how you run your project, how you maintain your project. This includes how you manage your source control, your build process, testing, and what is the process you have in place to release a change or fix to your production environment. There are also other terms you might have heard, which are continuous delivery and continuous deployment. These are all definitions to the same concept of automating your release management. There are some slightly technical differences between these definitions, like continuous integration groups only source control and build stages, and continuous delivery adds deployment and testing to them. And finally, continuous deployment adds a manual approval and production release to the process. So I personally see them interchangeable, and when I use the term continuous integration, I mean the whole process of release management with all stages included in it. So let's talk through this in a step-by-step approach. Development teams are continuously making changes to the applications, whether it's a new development, enhancements, or bug fixing. Changes made by development teams are checked into remote, shared, and secured source control. Certain actions on the repository will trigger a build process. These actions could be just committing your changes. However, something like tagging a version or creating a snapshot is a more realistic trigger. A manual process or scheduler could also trigger your build. Anyhow, once this action is taken, a build process will start. Build process could be as simple as just grouping your files in an archive, and it could be complex, involving compilation, testing, and generation of deployment artifacts like enterprise archives with multiple applications and so on. This could also involve external libraries or completely dedicated build environments or build machines of your choice. The output of build stage is usually a deployable artifact. After the build is done, deployable artifacts are pushed to a lower environment like a dev or integration testing environment, where the changes are being tested in the context of the full application. Then we have the detailed test phase. This could be automated or manual or both. The general purpose of this stage is to verify that all changes in this release are functional and correct, and there are no side effects elsewhere in the application because of these changes. So it might make sense to run a test of the new features in addition to general automated test that verifies the application end to end. Once testing is done, there should be a review step to review the results of this test process. And this also could be automated if the results are structured in a way that you can check them automatically, and it might also involve manual review. In both cases, a decision is made whether the release is approved or rejected. If the release is approved, then the workflow continues to push the build to production and send proper notifications. Of course, there are multiple approaches for this, like rolling updates, one instance at a time or number of instances at a time. There's also blue-green, where you create a new environment with the new build and switch domains after you verify the new environment, or simply you can use a downtime window to update your primary production, and this completes the release process to your production. In the next slide, we will talk through the same process with a more technical focus on the tools and frameworks that could be utilized to make this workflow possible, and I will focus on AWS services as this is the primary topic for this course. In the development stage, development teams push their changes to a private repository. In AWS, this is code commit, which functions as a private Git repository. You can also use your own version control servers or simply use S3. Once changes are checked in to code commit, a build is triggered. For build, AWS offers a code build service. Code build retrieves your resources from source control, which is code commit or whatever other repository you use, builds them in a way that's predefined according to technology and deployment needs, and will package them into deployable archives and store them securely in S3. You can also store these in other repository of choice if you prefer. Code build could be replaced by other build frameworks like Jenkins or TeamCity, among others. However, as I said, we'll focus on AWS offered services. Next stage is to deploy your build. AWS offers multiple services that can pull deployable artifacts and deploy or update an application. Our focus in this course is on code deploy. Once deployment is complete, a testing stage should start. This could be manual or automated as we discussed and could utilize tools like Blazemeter or custom test script that will hit a URL and examine the results. The list of tools that can integrate with AWS grows every day, so you can check this regularly and you'll find many tools you can use for testing. Testing stage should generate some sort of report and notify approvers when the report is ready. I will elaborate in a minute on how this is done in AWS. After testing is done, the process waits for review decision. Approvers will be notified of testing results and they can review and approve or reject this build. Again, I will elaborate in a minute on how this is done in AWS. Once release is approved, the process will continue utilizing code deploy again to promote these changes to higher environment and optionally destroy the staging environment or the temporary environment and clean up any temporary resources that were created as part of the release process. And the cycle continues with the next release when new version is checked in or release management process kicked manually. So we have seen multiple services that participate in the workflow, but there is still some things missing. The workflow itself. We need something to orchestrate this process together, define stages and input and exit criteria of each stage, allow the flexibility to inject additional stages in the middle, and gives you a proper notification of the progress. This service is Code Pipeline. Code Pipeline is a continuous integration service from AWS that you can think of as an orchestrator. Through Code Pipeline, you can create your release process and stages and add actions to each stage. I mentioned a few minutes ago about running custom test scripts. These are custom actions that you can add to your stage. I also mentioned that after testing, we need to notify approvers and wait for approval. This is also a custom action that you can add to your stage. For the rest of this introduction, I will talk briefly about each of these services and will close by talking through the objective of this course.